Hello and welcome to the fifth session this year in the St. John's webinar series. This session is all about careers support and financial support at university. So I'm going to kick things off with a look at the Student Living Index from 2023 from NatWest. So this is a theoretical cost of living index specifically for university students. The way that it's calculated is average monthly living and accommodation costs for each student divided by the amount of money on average coming in to that student. So the lower the number, the better the score for this student living index. So it has fallen. It's fallen in 2023. And the report from NatWest found that Cambridge students typically rely more on bursaries and scholarships and less on student loans and family financial contributions. So I think that's an important statistic to start out with. In terms of Cambridge and the cost of Cambridge, tuition fees, crucially, are the same as other UK universities, £9,250 per year. So the tuition fees pay for teaching, resources, staff, facilities, all for your learning when you're a student studying for your degree. And you can get a student finance loan for your tuition fees, and that is paid directly to the university in 3 installments each year, so roughly for each term. There is more information on the general gov.uk student finance webpage. I will be linking that a couple times throughout the slides for today's session because that is where the complete and up-to-date information will be found. So as well as your tuition fees, essentially the cost of your course, you've also got living costs. We call them maintenance costs. So these will vary depending on the individual, their circumstances of study and where they're living. I've got a table of example monthly living costs on the slide there. It's around £10,950 per year. It's paid directly to you, to your student bank account, the student finance loan for your maintenance costs. The amount that you receive a maintenance cost student finance loan, that amount varies depending on your household income. So it's means tested according to that. So students from lower household incomes can be eligible for higher maintenance student finance loans. In terms of student costs for Cambridge undergraduates, there are some key facts to consider. So because you're living in college accommodation for your time as a student here, your rent contracts will typically be shorter because we have shorter terms at Cambridge. They're 8 weeks long. The actual rent price that you will pay, it will vary, and it will often vary by the room type. So ensuite rooms, rooms where you have your own bathroom facilities and you're not sharing with anyone else, those rooms tend to cost more than rooms where you're sharing with maybe 5 people in your corridor or your staircase. The average undergraduate termly rent at Cambridge is around £2,230. In addition to that information about rent, I've also got the information about meals. So these, like rent, are subsidized because you'll be doing most of your eating in the college dining halls. So we have basically canteens, like school canteens in each of the colleges, and you can typically get about £7 for a hot dinner with some sides and a drink. So it's really heavily subsidized food and it's ready like a self-service school canteen for you. If you want to, you can also opt to go to some of the formal hall dinners. So these are the 3-course serviced meals in the formal hall in each college, and they tend to be around £15, which is really affordable for that kind of experience. But these are completely optional and they happen with varying frequencies across the colleges. You also will have some kitchen facilities in your student accommodation blocks in the college that you're living at as well. So most students tend to mix between going to the college buttery or the dining hall and making their own meals. Libraries, because the main university library is a copyright deposit library, this means that you can basically access any book that's been published, whether it's an ebook, whether it's a book that is housed in a library in another country, or whether it's stored currently in a warehouse, not on the library shelf itself, you will still be able to have access to that book. This means, together with the fact that you've got your faculty library, your department library, your subject-specific library, and you've got your library in college as well, you probably won't have to buy any books at all. So that's a really cost-effective fact for you. And then finally, college facilities. You will have something like a fitness center or gym, playing fields, sports equipment, art rooms, music rooms, all available to you, often completely free of charge just by virtue of being a student at that college. So government support, so this is student finance, the Student Loans Company, SLC. I've got their logo in the right-hand corner there. And again, I've linked to the gov.uk webpage because that's the most useful source of information for you. So you can apply for student finance loans from the February in the year that you're going to start your course. And you don't need a confirmed university place to apply for student finance loans. So tuition fee loan and maintenance loan, just to recap, all full-time home fee students get up to the £9,250 of the tuition fee loan. The maintenance loan for living costs, this varies. What is useful for you is to use that calculator, the student finance calculator. You plug in some information and it will tell you how much of a maintenance loan you could receive. So it depends on things like where you're living, whether you're studying full-time, part-time. Okay, in terms of the repayment, which is a question I often get asked about student finance, what I would say is the key information is on this webpage, but do have a look at the student finance gov.uk website that I've linked at the top again for the full and up-to-date information, because all of this is subject to change each year. So repayment of your student finance loans, that starts after you leave university and only once you are earning above what we call the repayment threshold. So the threshold above which you start to repay your student loans. And currently that repayment threshold is £25,000 per year. So that's the earning amount, the amount you need to have as your income from employment in order to be eligible to repay your student finance loans. What do you actually repay though? And this is the really important part. It's 9% of your income over that repayment threshold. So it's only the amount, 9% of that is repaid. It is taken just like a tax, just like all the other taxes that you will be automatically paying in your monthly payroll as an employed adult. So think of it more like a tax, this 9% of the income over the repayment threshold. And if your income falls below that threshold, then repayments are automatically paused. You can opt to pay back more than that automated monthly amount. And any outstanding balance is wiped after 40 years, whether you've paid back some, all, or none of the amount that you have in terms of student finance loans. And it's unlike other loans that you can get as an adult. It doesn't have an impact on your credit file. So it's not the same in terms of other loans and debts. Do think of it more like a tax. I've got an indicative amount table here showing the annual income amount before tax, how much the 9% will be taken from, and then what the actual monthly repayment would be. So that rightmost column is the automatic repayment amount that comes out along with all the other taxes in your monthly payroll. And the column in the middle is the amount that it's over to 25,000. Okay, so Cambridge financial support then. I'm using examples from the university and also from St John's College, mainly here, but do have a look at the fees and financial support webpage that I've linked at the top there. So essentially, the reason why we have all of these schemes that I'm about to explain to you today is that we are committed to ensuring that money isn't a barrier to anyone who's considering applying here, and also any students that are currently studying here as well. So the Cambridge bursary scheme, that's the main one that I will come to first, and then I will look at college schemes of financial support as well. So CBS, the Cambridge bursary scheme, this is for UK students and EU students with settled or pre-settled status. And again, there's a useful webpage that I've linked at the bottom, so the full information will be there. But this is an important overview, I think. It's a grant. It's not a loan, the Cambridge Bursary Scheme, the CBS. It's a non-repayable gift of money. The amount that you receive is means tested depending on household income. So that is a way where it's similar to the student finance loans from the government that I've just mentioned. So that means tested amount, you can get up to £3,500 per year. You get higher up to that limit, the lower you are on the household income scale. And it's for students will be eligible. It's for students with household incomes up to £62,215. There's no separate application process that you need to do in order to receive the CBS amount that you're eligible to receive. You are automatically assessed. We use the same means tested household income assessment that the student finance team have done. So we do that for you. And you get the CBS if you're eligible to receive it, in addition to any other government loans or any other funding that you are getting. Just a point, it's residual household income. So this is household incomes before tax minus pension contributions, and there's a deduction for any other children who are in higher education. So the full information is on that CBS webpage. There are two additional CBS amounts that I wanted to mention. If you would be classed as an independent student by Student Finance, if that's your classification, i.e. you're estranged from your family, you are over the age of 25, you have a dependent, you have a child, then you would receive a higher Cambridge bursary amount. That's £5,600 per year. And students who've been in local authority care and students who've been eligible for free school meals can receive the educational premium CBS. That's an additional £1,000 per year. On the slide here, I have widening participation scholarships from Cambridge. So these, again, are subject to change each year, and the full web page for these outreach scholarships is linked at the bottom. These are to ensure that we are increasing representation in currently and previously underrepresented groups within higher education. So you may have heard of the Stormzy Scholarship. You might not have heard of the Formula One Engineering Scholarship or the Geography Scholarship, but all of these are examples, and they're usually targeted either by subject and or by ethnicity or specific demographic groups as well. So have a look at these. There will be separate application processes for these and separate information. So these are quite different from the other ones I've talked about, but definitely worth looking at if you're interested in finding out more. Okay, I'm now going to turn to college financial support. So all of the colleges have various grants, bursaries, and scholarships. They also have things like book grants, travel grants, support with equipment costs, and hardship funds. So if you come into any unanticipated financial need while you're a student, your college will be the first port of call for you to receive the financial support that you need to ensure that you can keep studying without having any financial related concerns. I've got some examples of some of the St John's College financial support schemes on the slide here. So we have the LRF at St John's, the Learning and Research Fund. This is for every undergraduate student. It's not means tested. It's not to do with household income like some of the other ones I've mentioned already. The LRF helps towards covering the cost of course-related activities and course-related items. Often this is something like attending an academic conference or purchasing something like a laptop or other books and equipment that you might need to enrich your academic studies while you're a student here. So it's up to £300 per course year. That's the LRF. At St John's, we also have the summer project bursaries. So this is for students who have home fee status with household incomes under £67,000. And the summer project bursaries is essentially in place to ensure that if any students need to stay in Cambridge, for example, to do an internship over the summer, over that long vacation between their different course years, then they can get the support to do so. So have a look at that webpage for more information about the summer project bursaries. We also have the undergraduate studentships at St John's. These essentially top up the CBS amounts that you would be receiving if eligible. The scholarships, and the prizes, the academic prizes, I've listed some examples there, but there are more that are listed on the grants, awards and prizes webpage that I've linked at the bottom. But to give you an example, we have a scholarship for students who would be the first in their family to attend university, and we also have various subject-specific prizes as well. Oops, I've opened the link. There you go. Good to show that the link does work. Okay, I'm now coming to the second half. This is careers support now. So I'll go through this section. Degrees and careers. Really important to sort of bust some myths at the start. There are some careers that require a specific degree, for instance, being a vet, being a doctor, but there are often ways that you can achieve these specific qualifications in order to do this particular job via a graduate course or training program. So you don't always have to do the undergraduate corresponding course for you to end up being a doctor, for instance. You don't have to do undergraduate medicine. You could do graduate medicine instead. You could do biological sciences and then take a graduate medicine course and then be a practicing doctor. Some jobs require particular degree subject areas. So maths for jobs that require mathematical skills, languages for jobs that require translation skills. There are some jobs that do look for specific, and they will in their postings, in their job descriptions, in their adverts, they will specify some obvious subject area that they're looking for in terms of the degrees, the qualifications that applicants hold. But the majority of jobs don't have a specific degree or a specific degree subject that they require. They just look for what we call a good degree, so a first class degree or an upper second, so the top two levels of degree that you can receive in any subject. These are known often as open access careers. So things like law, publishing, public administration, accounting. There are lots of different jobs, different career industries that you can go into where you don't need to have done a specific degree. Have a look at the A to Z of career sectors here. This is on the Career Service webpage, and I'll come to talk about the Career Service at Cambridge in a little more detail in a couple of slides' time. Oh, in the next slide, indeed. So, what can you get at Cambridge in terms of career support while you're a student here? Well, you can have one-to-one appointments with a member of the career service team, and this can be at any point throughout your time as a student here. So you might want to go in your first year, in your first term perhaps, or you might want to go in your last year, in your last term. It's really up to you. They are there and ready and equipped to help you and support you at whatever stage you're at with thinking about what comes next after your degree, after your time at university. On the Careers Service webpage, you will also find lots of listings, job postings for internships, but also for volunteering opportunities. And you can also have lots of opportunities through networking and alumni mentoring. Now, this can be through the Central University, it could be through your faculty, through your subject department, or it could be through your college. I think a real benefit of universities like Cambridge is that you have that really close relationship that your tutor, your director of studies, these people who know you from the time that you matriculate when you start your course until after you have graduated, and they can really support you and put opportunities your way because they know you really well and they've supported your learning throughout the years. So that's a really big benefit. Also, a place like Cambridge with the Science Park, with the Innovation Centre, there are so many opportunities, things like tech companies, startups, things going on in the research laboratories that you can get involved with in a work experience internship kind of sense. The Career Service also run sector-specific Q&A presentations, workshops. They have lots of events that they put on throughout the academic year that you can go to as a student when you're at Cambridge. And finally, there are lots of resources online and also the career sector specific newsletters that you can sign up to as a student when you're here. There's PDF guides, videos, there's loads of resources basically to support you at whatever stage you're at. This is a screenshot from the Career Service website. You can have a look at that website now, the careers.cam.ac.uk. That's linked there. There are lots of things that you can access that you don't need a student login for. So have a look now to get a sense of some of the things I've talked about. As well as the careers A to Z that I have already linked on a previous slide, I wanted to touch on some of the different groupings of different career destinations. So we have, first of all, academic careers. So if you want to stay within your academic area and progress to further study, so stay on to do a master's, a postgraduate, a doctorate, with a view to conducting your own research, with a view to teaching future generations of undergraduate students, then academic careers is one career path you might consider. You can also have careers where you are using your subject knowledge, you're using your background, your degree or subject background, but you aren't doing research. So things like international relations, patent law, science communication, all of these jobs where you have the skills and knowledge from your specific degree and you're applying it in this particular role, this particular industry. You can also do research that's not academic. So you're not necessarily publishing in academic journals. You're not necessarily teaching undergraduates, but you're still doing research. You're still a researcher. So often pharmaceutical companies, engineering companies have lots of research roles. And finally, and this is probably a really big majority of the different career paths, you can do something entirely different to what you have studied at university. You can use what we call transferable skills. So things that aren't necessarily related to the content, the knowledge that you have gained through studying your subject for 3+ years, but through things like analytical skills, problem solving, communication, whether that's verbal and or written. These are what we mean by transferable skills or life skills or employability skills. They're called lots of different things. So things like software engineering and data science as well, good examples of those. This is a really good web page for you to have a look at, the using your degree page on the Careers Service website, the Cambridge Careers Service website. So what you'll see, I've got a screenshot here, is all of our 30 undergraduate courses. They have their own dedicated web page, and on each you will find information about recent graduates, what they're doing, the destinations, the outcomes, the proportions usually of the different sectors and industries that they've ended up in. And then you'll also have an overview of the different transferable skills that employers are really looking for from this particular graduate group, right? This degree. And then finally, at the bottom, you will have further suggestions and resources for how you can explore careers opportunities that are related to that degree. Okay, before I take questions from you about financial support and about career support, I thought we could play a little game, a little quiz. The information that I am going to show you, I have taken from the full report that I have linked at the bottom there. They do one each year, and I would encourage you to look at the full PDF if you're interested. So I'm going to show you the top 10 jobs or careers or industries that graduates from a particular degree or subject area have gone into. So what we're looking for is what degree did they study in order for these to be the top 10 jobs that they ended up in. And as well as guessing what degree led to these different jobs, I also want you to have a think about the knowledge, the skills that the graduates have gained through doing those degrees. So, are we ready? Okay. This is degree 1 led to these top 10 jobs, these top 10 graduate outcomes or destinations. What do we think the degree is here? I'll give you a moment or two to pop your answers in the chat box, if you may. Thank you. Let me check the chat box. So what degree do we think is the one here? Okay, I've got, I think, almost exclusively maths or computer science. Fantastic. Yes, mathematics, but I would imagine that computer science, if you look at the full report, you will definitely see a very similar top 10 listed for computer science. Yes, absolutely. So for the people that put maths and computer science, very related degrees, why did you come to that conclusion? I guess I'm asking, what skills or knowledge do you think the graduates from mathematics and computer science degrees might have gained that meant that they ended up in these different jobs and industry sectors? What do you reckon? Yep, absolutely. Data handling skills, problem solving. Yeah, ability to numeracy skills, right? Being really good at using numbers, analytical thinking, being logical in an approach, definitely. Problem solving, yep. Analysis, fantastic. Absolutely. What I hope you will see in this top 10, and indeed in the other three, we have got four in total. So the other three questions in my little quiz, is that you often have ones that really jump out at you, and you can see the direct link between that job and the degree. But there are also others which aren't as direct. So there is a good mix of using your knowledge, your degree knowledge, your content, your subject skills, and also using the transferable skills that you could get from other degrees as well. So I hope that's what you'll find in the next one, which is this. So we have got degree number 2 led to these top 10 graduate destinations. So I'll give you a moment to have a look, have a read, and think about what the degree might be that led to these graduate outcomes. Let me open the chat box and see what the responses are. Interesting, we've got more of a range for this one in terms of the guesses. We've got business, economics, social sciences, geography, philosophy, politics, history, a real wide range of guesses. I have seen the correct answer. So, without further ado, I shall reveal politics. But equally, all of the ones that you were guessing made complete sense. And I think what you'll find is when you do look at the full report, if you want to after the session, you will find that there's a lot of overlap between these. I mean, even within just this top 10, you can see from the previous mathematics degree ending up with these degree outcomes, you can see overlaps, right? You can see similar paths from what you might think are two very different degrees, maths and politics. But in actual fact, a lot of the transferable skills that you're gaining are actually very similar. Can you think of the transferable skills from a degree like political sciences, social sciences? What are the transferable skills that you can gain? So we had things like numeracy for a maths degree, computer science degrees. What do you think the transferable skills are for a politics degree? Yeah, absolutely. Communication. That's coming in thick and fast there in the chat box. Yes. Research. Absolutely. That's a really good one. Writing. Yep. Data analytics. Absolutely. Different types of data as well, right? Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Persuading people. Yeah, absolutely. Crafting a persuasive argument. Um, that's yeah, absolutely. Using evidence that you have to form an argument and arguing just broadly, debating and being persuasive. Yeah, excellent. Right, so I have come to the penultimate question in my little quiz. Degree number 3 led to these top 10 graduate outcomes. What do you think the degree might be? This one is a little more obvious, I think, than perhaps the previous ones were. Let me open the chat box and see. What I'm sure is, yes, a C of engineering. Absolutely. Oh, something I missed from the previous one, thinking about the transferable skills for politics, having an understanding of historical context as well. Yeah, definitely. Really, really good point there. Thank you. Yes, engineering. It is, in fact, chemical engineering specifically, but when you look at the prospects, that's the link for the report that I'm taking all of these pieces of information from, you will see that engineering is very, very similar from specifically chemical engineering, which is the degree that I've taken here as my example. Yeah, absolutely. So there's more vocational links that we're seeing here between the degree, the subject, and the graduate outcome. Wonderful. Okay, final one then. I've got my little cheat sheet here, so I'm just checking and seeing what it is for the final one because I had forgotten. What do we think? Degree number 4 led to these top 10 graduate outcomes. We're seeing a lot in these top 10 that we have already seen in the previous ones. It's deliberately put as the fourth one in the quiz to call back to some of the other ones that we've seen already. I'm going to have a look in the chat box for your guesses now. Yes, fantastic. We've got lots of different arts and humanities guesses here. We've got sociology, we've got English, classics, languages. Yeah, absolutely. This one is very broad languages. So I'm not sure if they've split up the one into ancient and modern languages. I think it's broadly languages degrees. So yeah, absolutely. All of those guesses that you were giving me are spot on. Again, you can see the links here with some of these top 10, particularly with things like translating, uh, but also broadly, oh, what we haven't done is thought about the transferable skills for this one. So broadly speaking, what skills are you gaining from a languages degree that make sense with these top 10 graduate outcomes? What do you reckon? Yeah, again, communication, absolutely. Yeah, very good analyzing patterns. Yeah, definitely. Through texts, through different media. Yeah, people skills, absolutely. Yeah, communication, understanding different cultures. Logical skills, definitely, in things like translating, you often have to approach that with a real logical step-by-step approach. Problem solving as well. Yeah, fantastic. Excellent responses, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, that comes to the end of my slides today. I'm going to stop the recording here. My email address, you can contact me with any further questions. And if you'd like a copy of the slides, you can contact me as well. For everyone who is watching live, I will now take questions, but this is where I will pause the recording. Thank you.